Now we're going to start looking at how you can specialize around this service and develop a niche that will allow you to compete in a field of one. And I know that kind of sounds a little weird because it sort of goes against everything we've been told, that you have to make sure people can find you and that you have to be searchable in some sort of generically findable way. But stick with me because this is going to make a lot of sense by the end of the next couple of lessons. First off, I want to say that I do not subscribe to the thinking that a niche is a vertical or any kind of industry. There's just way too much room for error in there. Not only is it really difficult to compete against everybody else who's claiming that they're serving that industry, more importantly, it's almost impossible for you to define what you're going to do or what results you're trying to achieve for that industry, simply because there are very few defining characteristics between a huge business and a tiny business in the same industry. So instead, what we're going to do is find out who the client is, who you can get the most significant results for the fastest and with the least amount of stress. And we do that through a combination of what you want to do, what you love to do, and what your audience is screaming out for, which is a pretty important distinction. We don't want to just say this is all about us and base our niche on just what we want to do when maybe nobody really wants it. But equally, we don't just want to focus on what the audience is screaming out for and end up doing something we hate. That's where the whole find a hungry market argument tends to fall down. You've still got to love what you're doing. Plus, there's also the fact that sometimes what the audience says they want and what they actually need are two different things. So, to do this, first I want you to go ahead and grab the Trello board called Before You Niche that I've attached at the bottom of this lesson. When you open this board in Trello, you'll notice that it's set to public, but you don't have access to move things around. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so when you click on that link, one of two things is going to happen. If you're not signed into Trello, or if you haven't yet set up a Trello account, you'll come to this page here where it says Bruce White invited you to Before You Niche. You'll either log in, or in this case sign up if you haven't signed up yet. When you do that, it will just put the board directly into your personal boards inside the new account. I'm going to assume that you're already signed up in the previous lesson though, so if that's the case, this is what you'll open up to. So, this board is set to public, and you're not yet an admin of this board because it's just a public version. So you can see over here, this is my Brand Sprint Academy Trello account. And this is a new account that I set up just for this demonstration, okay? So this new account is what I'm logged into right now, and it's what I had logged in when I clicked on that link, and it's brought this board into that account, okay? So the first thing we want to do is we want to set up some new teams inside this account so that we've got a place to put this board where we can keep it safe and where we can find it later on. So I'm going to set up two new teams. The first one, well, let's just go back to the home here. And I'm going to click here under Create a Team. And the first one, I'm just going to call My Brand Name. Okay, now obviously, you wouldn't actually type the words My Brand Name. You would put the name of your brand in here. But My Brand Name, I'm just going to call it that, and then just choose whatever type of team it is. So typically I'll just choose business. You can give it a description if you like. You don't need to. Click Continue. And then it's going to ask if you want to invite any other team members to your team. You don't need to. I just click, I'll do this later. And now you've got a new team in your account, okay? But we want to do that one more time. So we click back onto the home. Over here next to teams, we're going to click the plus one more time. And we're going to call this one Brand Sprint Academy Templates. Okay, same thing again, business, continue. No, you don't need to invite anyone. And now we've got a second team set up. Okay, so this is where you're going to put everything that you don't want to overwrite when you use them. So this is where you want to keep all the templates that we'll be using throughout the rest of the sprint. It's a good idea as you open these templates to just put them all in there for later use so that you don't end up using them by mistake and then end up with something that you've got to reverse engineer to get back to a clean version, okay? So once you've done that, we've made our two teams. Now we want to go back and we want to make a copy of that board into our account. Again, remembering it's still public. So we're going to click on the recently viewed, the Before You Niche board. It's still public. So we go over here and we click Show Menu. We click More, and then we click Copy Board. Now a little drop down box is going to open up here. It's going to ask us first of all to give it a title. So we're going to call it Before You Niche. and we're going to put it in my brand name, okay? And then just click create. So that's now put that board in our my brand name folder. But before we leave here, we want to go back up one more time and we're going to copy it again, okay? So we click show menu, more, copy board. We're going to call this one before you niche template. You can use the square brackets if you like, you don't have to, it's just my preferred naming style. And then we're going to put this one in the Brand Sprint Academy template. So now it's marked as a template and it's in our template team, or think of teams as folders. We're going to click create, and now we've got a second version of it, okay? So we click back over here on our home, and you're going to see we've got Brand Sprint Academy templates and my brand name, and in each of those we've got our two new versions of the board, okay? So we've copied it twice inside our account. We've put, the first one is in a spot where we can't lose it by mistakenly using it, and then we've also got it in the my brand name folder, or the team, which is where we're going to go next, okay? So we've copied this board, it's in a safe spot. We're going to open up this one from the my brand name team and close the menu for the moment. Now this exercise, by the way, this can be done just as easily on a worksheet as it can be in Trello, but I prefer to keep all this type of thing in Trello so that I can add to them and I can edit them and delete things and just generally keep things nice and tidy, but more importantly, keep it nice and current. So in this board, you can see we've got 6 different lists. So you can see expertise, love, sweet spot, no-brainer characteristics, nice to have characteristics, and deal breaker characteristics. So what I want you to do in the first list is just create a new card for everything that you can do, okay? So scrolling back over here to expertise, and this is stuff that you're really, really good at, right? So don't just write out everything you've ever done. Let's just get the stuff that you're really good at. It doesn't matter if you enjoy it yet, just make a new card for everything that you're really good at. So this can be things like, let's go with copywriting. We'll say web design, logo design, custom app development, funnel building, all of these things that you might be good at. Color psychology, you're going to be good at that, by the way, by the end of this course. Marketing strategy. Okay, all of these type of things, everything that you're good at. Now, if you can go deeper here, for example, on that custom app development one, if you can break that down into 1 or 2 specific parts of app development that you're really good at, even better. The more granular here, the better, okay? Same thing with funnel building. Maybe the part of the funnel that you're really good at, break that down so that your expertise shows everything that you're really, really good at. Now, once you've done that, we're going to move on to the next list, which is called love, and we're going to create a new card for all of the things that you love to do, okay? So just like the first list where we didn't look at whether we loved it or not, in this list, we don't care if we're good at it or not. We just want to write down the stuff that you love to do. So maybe you love doing front-end design for apps, but you're really more of a developer than a designer. It doesn't matter. If you love it, put it in there. So let's go front end design apps. In my case, I love writing emails, so email copywriting. I'm also pretty good at it, but if I'm honest, I'm much better at writing long form sales pages. Doesn't matter, I love email copywriting, so I'm going to put it in there, okay? Let me just bang in a couple more, so maybe custom app development. And maybe we'll say copywriting. Okay, just so that we've got a few in here to demonstrate with. So you can see here, long form sales copy, for example. Let's say that we put that over here. Long form sales copy. Never type on camera. Okay, so let's say that we put that in here, but it's not in our expertise. So imagine that I wasn't good at it, so it didn't fit in expertise, but I love doing it, so it's under love, okay? So that's what ends up in your love column, everything that you love to do. So let's say, for example, over here, I had put in front end app design. We'll give that 2Ps just because we like it. So, and it's also over here, front-end design apps, okay? You can probably tell what's coming next. Once you've got these two lists completed, so once you've got everything in there for each of those, you've gone through everything that you're really, really good at and everything that you really love to do, what we're looking for then is the crossover. So we're looking for what appears on both lists, and that's our sweet spot. So when you find something that you're really good at and you love to do, you just want to make a copy of the card and place it in the third list, okay? So unlike the first two lists where we were creating new cards, in this case we want to make a copy of the card purely because we don't want to move the card out of those first two lists. Again, we want to keep this current, right? We want to be able to return to this. We want to use this as a business asset. And so we think intelligently at this point, and we make copies so that we don't disturb what I like to call our raw material. So let's say front-end design apps appears in both of these lists. Doesn't matter which one that you make a copy of, just open up the card and then go over here and click copy. Okay, it's going to ask you for a title and it's going to ask you where you want to put it. The board, it's this board. So the board that you're on will automatically be in this list. We're going to leave it obviously in this list, but we're going to change the list. Sorry, we're going to leave it in this board. We're going to change the list. We're going to put the copy under sweet spot. Position doesn't matter. If you leave it in 1, it just goes to the top of this list. That's fine. Then click create card. And now you'll see 16 years from now when my computer finishes up, we've got it in the sweet spot as well. So we haven't moved it out of either of these two, but we've recognized a crossover and we've put it in our sweet spot, okay? So when you've created these cards, you will do this for everything that you have that fits both lists. So if I look here, I've also got copywriting, so I would do the same thing there. Copy, I want to move it into the sweet spot. Again, you'll notice here it's saying position 2. If I change that to position 1 and then click create card, you can see it puts copywriting up the top. So the position doesn't matter, but that's just so that you know what it's going to do, okay? So ideally, you're probably not going to have all that many here of the things that you are really, really good at, and I mean stuff that you can actually build a business around, and the things that you really love to do. It's really difficult to find a great number of things that cross over on both of these lists, okay? So once you've done that, you've got your expertise, you've got your list of things that you love to do, and then you've got the sweet spot where the two cross over. Now that gives us something to focus on. Now we can focus on building a specialty around just one of these services, okay? This is something we're really good at, and it's something that we love to do. So instead of trying to sell this to customers, we have to switch our thinking to going and getting the customers who want this service, okay? That's specializing, or finding a niche if you prefer that term. All right, I'm going to cut this one off here. I had originally recorded this as one big long lesson, so there are still those no-brainer characteristics, nice to have characteristics, and deal-breaker characteristics to go on this Trello board. But I'm going to cut this video off here because we ended up at about 24 minutes long. This is a logical spot to stop this. So once you've got your expertise, your love, and your sweet spot assembled, we're going to come back in the next video and we're going to talk about the characteristics that your client needs to have to be the perfect client for that sweet spot service and to be acceptable to you as a client. And we're going to change the way you think about this when we get to that. So head on over there now and I'll see you in a sec.